Ladies and gentlemen, there is a mindset that refuses to live in fear, a mindset that does not wait for permission, a mindset that walks into challenges the way a lion walks into the wild calm, focused and fully aware of its strength. Lion mentality is not about dominance over others. It is about mastery over yourself. It is about waking up every day with purpose, moving with confidence, and refusing to shrink in the face of difficulty. A lion does not need the approval of the jungle. It does not look around to see who is watching before it makes its move. In the same way, a person with a lion mentality does not depend on validation. They know their value. They understand that real power comes from discipline, from consistency, and from the ability to keep going even when no one is clapping. Lion mentality means embracing solitude when necessary. Growth requires time alone. It requires moments where you step away from the noise and focus on sharpening your skills, strengthening your mind, and building your vision. Just like the lion that patiently observes before it attacks, success comes to those who prepare in silence and act with precision. It also means fearlessness in the face of struggle. The wild is not easy, and neither is life. There will be failures, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But the lion does not run from the storm, it walks through it. When you develop this mentality, you stop seeing obstacles as barriers and start seeing them as opportunities to prove your strength. A true lion mentality is built on confidence, not arrogance. It is quiet, controlled, and powerful. It does not need to roar all the time to remind the world of its presence. The energy speaks for itself. The work speaks for itself. The results speak for themselves. Hunger is another part of this mindset. A lion hunts not because it is desperate, but because it is driven. In life, hunger is your ambition, your desire to grow, your refusal to settle for an average existence. When you stay hungry for improvement, every day becomes a new chance to move closer to your goals. And above all, lion mentality is about resilience. Even when injured, even when tired, even when the odds are against it, the lion does not surrender. That is the level of determination required to build a meaningful life, to stand tall when things fall apart, to keep moving when the path is unclear, to believe in your strength when no one else does. Self-mastery is the highest form of power a person can ever achieve because it is the one victory that no one else can take away. It is not about controlling others, forcing outcomes, or proving superiority. It is about gaining command over your own thoughts, emotions, habits, and reactions. In a world where distractions are endless and pressures are constant, the ability to govern yourself becomes a rare and unstoppable strength. When you master yourself, you no longer move according to impulse or temporary feelings. You move with purpose, with awareness, and with a clear understanding of who you are and where you are going. Every external achievement begins with an internal decision. Before success is seen in actions, it is built in the mind. The person who can wake up early when comfort says sleep longer, who can stay disciplined when motivation disappears, and who can remain calm when everything around them becomes chaotic, holds a kind of power that cannot be shaken. This power is quiet but unbreakable. It does not need recognition because its results speak through consistency, focus, and growth. Self-mastery requires awareness. You must understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your triggers, and your patterns. Many people live their entire lives reacting instead of responding, allowing emotions to control their direction. But when you begin to observe yourself, you create space between feeling and action. In that space lies your freedom. You are no longer a slave to anger, fear, doubt, or laziness. You become the one who chooses how to respond, and that choice changes everything. It also demands discipline, which is the bridge between goals and reality. Discipline is not punishment, it is training. It is the daily commitment to doing what needs to be done, even when it is uncomfortable. It is choosing growth over ease, long-term success over short-term pleasure, and purpose over distraction. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, your mind becomes stronger. Each time you resist an old habit that once controlled you, your confidence deepens. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust becomes a foundation that cannot be broken by failure or criticism. Emotional control is another pillar of self-mastery. Life will not always be fair, people will not always understand you, and situations will not always go your way. Without control over your emotions, every obstacle will feel like a defeat. But when you master your inner world, you remain steady. You do not allow anger to destroy your peace or fear to stop your progress. You feel everything, but you are not ruled by it. This stability gives you clarity, and clarity gives you the ability to make powerful decisions even in difficult moments. Patience is a hidden strength within self-mastery. The person who can delay gratification, who can work in silence without needing immediate results, and who can trust the process without constantly seeking validation, is the one who builds something that lasts in a fast-moving world that demands quick success. The ability to stay committed for the long journey is a form of dominance over the self. It means you are not controlled by the need for instant rewards. You are guided by vision. Self-mastery also transforms your relationship with failure. Instead of seeing mistakes as proof of weakness, you see them as lessons. You do not collapse under pressure because your identity is not tied to one outcome. You adapt, you learn, and you continue moving forward. This resilience comes from knowing that your real strength lies in your ability to rise again and again, no matter how many times you fall. When you master yourself, your energy changes. You walk differently because you are not seeking approval. You speak differently because your words come from clarity. You work differently because you are driven by purpose, not by comparison. You become focused on progress rather than perfection, and that focus creates momentum that others can feel even without you saying a word. This level of control does not happen in a single day. It is built through small decisions repeated consistently. It is built every time you choose to think positively instead of negatively, every time you push through resistance, and every time you stay true to your values when it would be easier to compromise. These small victories over yourself accumulate, and one day you realize that you are no longer the same person who once struggled to stay consistent or believe in their own strength. Self-mastery is true power because it makes you independent of circumstances. Whether you are in comfort or in chaos, you remain the same at your core, focused, disciplined, and driven. No external success can match the confidence that comes from knowing you are in control of your own mind and your own direction. This is the power that creates leaders, innovators, and individuals who inspire others without even trying, because their life becomes proof of what is possible when a person conquers themselves. To move without seeking validation is to discover a freedom that most people never experience. It is the moment when your actions are no longer controlled by the opinions, expectations, or approval of others, and you begin to live in alignment with your own vision. So many dreams are delayed, diluted, or completely abandoned because of the silent question that lives in the back of the mind. What will they think? That question has stopped more progress than failure ever has. When you release the need for validation, you remove the invisible chains that keep you walking in circles instead of moving forward. From a young age, people are conditioned to look for approval. Good grades are rewarded, certain careers are praised, and specific lifestyles are labeled as successful. Over time, it becomes easy to confuse acceptance with purpose. You start making choices that look right to others rather than choices that feel right to you. But there is a quiet strength in choosing your path even when it is not understood, in continuing your work even when it is not noticed, and in believing in your growth even when no one else sees it. Yet, that strength builds a level of confidence that does not depend on applause. When you stop seeking validation, your focus changes. You are no longer performing for an audience. You are building for a future. Your energy is no longer wasted on explaining yourself, comparing yourself, or proving your worth. Instead, it is invested in improving your skills, strengthening your mindset, and taking consistent action. Progress becomes personal. The work becomes meaningful because it is connected to your values, not to external recognition. This does not mean you stop listening or learning from others. It means you are no longer controlled by their opinions. There is a difference between guidance and permission. Guidance can help you grow, but waiting for permission keeps you stuck. When you move without seeking validation, you take responsibility for your decisions. You accept that not everyone will understand your journey, and you become comfortable with that reality. You realize that misunderstanding is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. Sometimes it is proof that you are walking a path that is uniquely yours. One of the greatest benefits of this mindset is resilience. When your motivation comes from external approval, criticism becomes devastating and silence becomes discouraging. But when your drive comes from within, you remain steady. Praise does not make you arrogant, and rejection does not break you. You continue moving because your direction is not determined by how others respond. This creates a consistency that is rare and powerful. Moving without validation also allows authenticity to grow. You stop trying to fit into spaces that require you to shrink. You stop changing your voice to be accepted. You begin to express your ideas, your creativity, and your ambition in their purest form. This authenticity attracts the right opportunities and the right people because it is real. Approval gained by pretending is temporary, but respect earned by being genuine is lasting. There will be moments of doubt because the need for validation is deeply rooted. There will be times when you wonder if anyone notices your effort, if anyone supports your vision, or if you are moving in the right direction. In those moments, you learn to become your own source of encouragement. You remind yourself why you started. You measure your progress by your discipline, your growth, and your commitment rather than by recognition. You learn to clap for yourself in private, and that self-recognition becomes more powerful than public praise. This mindset also teaches patience. When you are not chasing approval, you are willing to work in silence. You understand that real success is not always visible in the early stages. Seeds grow underground before they break through the surface. In the same way, your effort is shaping you even when no one is watching. By the time the results appear, you are no longer dependent on the attention that comes with them. Living without the need for validation strengthens your identity. You begin to trust your decisions because they are based on your values. You become less distracted by comparison because you are focused on your own path. You no longer feel the pressure to match someone else's timeline, lifestyle, or definition of success. You create your own. There is a quiet confidence in a person who moves this way. They do not need to announce their goals to feel important. They do not stop when they are not praised. They do not change direction because of criticism. They continue, step by step, with a deep sense of purpose. Their satisfaction comes from knowing they are becoming who they were meant to be. In the end, moving without seeking validation is not about isolation. It is about self-trust. It is about understanding that your life is your responsibility and your vision is your guide. When you reach that point, you are no longer living for approval. You are living with intention, and that is where real power begins. To embrace solitude for growth is to understand that the most powerful transformations often happen in moments when no one is watching. When the noise of the world fades and you are left alone with your thoughts, your habits, and your truth. Solitude is not loneliness. It is a deliberate choice to step away from constant distraction so you can hear your own voice clearly. In a world that constantly demands attention and connection, choosing to spend time alone becomes an act of strength. It is in these quiet spaces that clarity is born, discipline is developed, and identity is shaped. When you are always surrounded by people, opinions, and expectations, it becomes easy to lose sight of who you really are. You begin to adapt to fit into environments, to adjust your dreams according to what is acceptable, and to measure your worth by how others respond to you. Solitude removes those influences, even if only for a short time, and allows you to face yourself without filters. It is in that honest confrontation that growth begins. You see your weaknesses without distraction, and instead of hiding from them, you start working on them. You recognize your strengths without needing someone else to point them out, and you begin to build confidence that comes from within. Solitude creates the perfect environment for deep focus. Every great skill, every meaningful goal, and every lasting success requires time, repetition, and attention. These things are difficult to develop in constant noise. When you are alone, you can give your full energy to improvement. You can read, think, practice, plan, and reflect without interruption. In those hours of silent effort, you are building a version of yourself that the world will eventually see, even though the work itself happens in private. There is also a healing power in being alone. Life moves fast, and people often carry stress, pressure, and emotional weight without ever stopping to process it. Solitude gives you the chance to slow down and understand what you feel and why you feel it. Instead of running from discomfort, you learn to sit with it, to learn from it, and to grow stronger because of it. This emotional awareness becomes a foundation for resilience. When you know yourself deeply, external challenges lose the power to shake you. Choosing solitude also strengthens independence. You stop relying on constant company to feel complete. You learn to enjoy your own presence, to trust your own decisions, and to entertain your own mind. This does not distance you from others. It makes your connections healthier. When you are comfortable being alone, you no longer stay in environments that drain you just to avoid loneliness. You choose relationships that align with your values because you are no longer afraid of standing by yourself. In solitude, vision becomes clearer. Away from comparison and competition, you can ask yourself what you truly want. Not what looks impressive, not what gains quick approval, but what genuinely fulfills you. This clarity allows you to set goals that are meaningful and to take steps that are intentional. Your direction becomes personal rather than influenced, and that personal direction fuels a deeper level of motivation. There is a certain discipline that is born only in solitude. Waking up early to work on your goals when no one is there to remind you, continuing your practice when there is no applause, and staying consistent even when progress feels slow. These are the moments that build real strength. Anyone can perform when they are being watched, but growth that happens in private creates a confidence that cannot be broken. You know the effort you have put in, the sacrifices you have made, and the obstacles you have faced in silence. That knowledge becomes your power. Solitude also teaches patience. When you are alone with your journey, you are not constantly measuring your progress against others. You begin to understand that growth is not a race. It is a process that unfolds in its own time. This patience allows you to stay committed even when results are not immediate. You learn to value the process, to appreciate small improvements, and to trust that every moment of effort is shaping you into something stronger. There will be times when solitude feels uncomfortable, when the silence seems too loud and distractions call you back. In those moments, it is important to remember why you chose this path. Discomfort is often a sign that change is happening. The mind is adjusting, the habits are shifting, and the old version of you is slowly being replaced by someone more focused, more self-aware, and more powerful. By embracing solitude, you create a space where growth becomes inevitable. You become your own teacher, your own motivator, and your own source of strength. You stop depending on the world to shape you and start shaping yourself. And when you finally step back into the noise, you do so as someone who is grounded, clear, and unshakable, carrying within you the quiet power that can only be built in moments of being alone. To face challenges with fearlessness is to embrace life in its rawest, most demanding form, knowing that obstacles are not roadblocks, but invitations to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Fear is a natural response, but it is also a limitation. It whispers doubts, magnifies risks, and convinces you that retreat is safer than action. Yet, every individual who has achieved anything meaningful has learned to move forward despite fear. To live fearlessly does not mean the absence of fear. It means having the courage to act even when fear is present, trusting that each challenge carries a lesson and an opportunity for growth. Life does not wait for comfort. It does not pause until you feel ready. Difficulties arise suddenly, often without warning, testing your patience, determination, and strength. Fearless individuals do not wait for perfect conditions. They understand that growth is born in adversity. By confronting challenges directly, you build confidence in your own abilities, and each victory, no matter how small, reinforces the belief that you are capable of more than you imagine. This mindset transforms fear from a paralyzing force into a motivating one. Fear becomes a compass, pointing you toward the areas where growth is necessary. Fearlessness requires a shift in perspective. Most people see challenges as threats, as evidence that life is working against them. But when you choose to face difficulties head-on, challenges become teachers rather than enemies. Each struggle provides insight into your own limits, revealing both your weaknesses and your hidden strengths. By acknowledging the difficulty without exaggerating it, you create space to think clearly, strategize, and act with precision. Fearless individuals view obstacles as natural steps on the path to achievement rather than punishments or signs of failure. Preparation is a key component of fearlessness. When you develop skills, knowledge, and mental toughness, you reduce uncertainty, which is often the root of fear. Preparation does not eliminate challenges, but it equips you to meet them confidently. When you face a difficult task knowing you have done the work, you approach it with determination instead of hesitation. Fear becomes manageable because you trust in your ability to adapt, to problem, solve, and to endure. This preparation is both physical and mental, a combination of discipline, study, and self-awareness that reinforces courage. Fearlessness also requires emotional control. Challenges often provoke strong emotions: anxiety, anger, frustration, or despair. These emotions are natural, but they can cloud judgment and lead to rash decisions. By learning to acknowledge your emotions without being ruled by them, you maintain clarity and make rational choices even under pressure. Emotional mastery allows you to respond instead of react. You act from a place of strength, not panic, and each successful navigation of difficulty further strengthens your resolve. Resilience is the companion of fearlessness. Facing challenges boldly does not mean never failing. It means refusing to let failure define you. Fearless individuals understand that setbacks are temporary and that persistence is what ultimately determines success. Each obstacle overcome adds to a growing reservoir of inner strength, making the next challenge less intimidating. By facing adversity repeatedly, you cultivate an unshakable mindset that is not swayed by criticism, uncertainty, or unexpected difficulties. Another vital aspect of fearlessness is focus. When challenges appear, distractions, doubts, and comparisons can pull your attention away from what truly matters. Fearless individuals concentrate on actionable steps, not imagined consequences. They break down problems into manageable parts and attack them with energy and consistency. This focus reduces the influence of fear because attention is directed towards solutions rather than imagined obstacles. Action becomes the antidote to hesitation, and momentum builds as each step forward reinforces your confidence. Fearlessness is also about embracing discomfort. Growth rarely occurs in comfort zones. When you step into situations that push your limits, whether physically, mentally, or emotionally, you expand your capacity. Each moment of discomfort teaches patience, endurance, and adaptability. By seeking challenges rather than avoiding them, you transform difficult experiences into catalysts for personal evolution. Over time, what once seemed intimidating becomes familiar territory, and courage becomes a natural response rather than a forced choice. Ultimately, facing challenges with fearlessness is a practice of trust. Trust in your abilities, trust in your preparation, and trust in the process of growth. It is a commitment to refuse stagnation and to step forward when others hesitate. It is a choice to define your life not by the limitations imposed by fear, but by the strength you uncover when confronting it. By consistently acting in spite of fear, you develop a mindset that thrives under pressure, adapts to adversity, and achieves what others might consider impossible. Fear becomes a signal, challenges become opportunities, and life unfolds as a journey of courage, resilience, and unyielding determination. To stay hungry for success is to cultivate a relentless drive that refuses to settle, to remain motivated even when comfort tempts you to pause, and to continue striving even when others are content. Hunger is not simply about desire, it is about commitment, persistence, and a refusal to accept mediocrity. It is the internal fire that fuels action when motivation fades, when obstacles seem insurmountable, and when the path ahead appears unclear. Success does not come to those who wait. It comes to those who are constantly pushing forward, learning, improving, and refusing to be satisfied with what they have already achieved. Hunger for success begins with vision. It is the ability to see beyond the present, to imagine a future that is bigger, better, and more meaningful than the current reality. Without this vision, ambition loses direction and effort becomes aimless. When you cultivate a hunger for success, you constantly evaluate your position, identify opportunities, and set new goals that challenge your limits. Hunger is never satisfied because the person who possesses it understands that growth is continuous, and every milestone achieved is simply a stepping stone toward a higher peak. The hungry individual does not fear hard work. Success is rarely handed out. It must be earned through sweat, persistence, and determination. This type of hunger motivates you to do more than the minimum, to put in the hours, and to refine your skills even when no one is watching. It is what makes you rise early, stay focused, and maintain discipline even when life is distracting. Those who are hungry do not wait for inspiration, they create it through consistent effort and commitment to their goals. A key element of staying hungry for success is resilience. The journey toward achievement is full of setbacks, failures, and disappointment. Hunger allows you to view these challenges not as reasons to quit, but as lessons and opportunities to improve. Each failure fuels your desire to try again, to do better, and to push harder. The person who is truly hungry does not collapse under pressure. They rise stronger and more determined. Resilience becomes a natural part of their mindset, allowing them to persist when others would give up. Hunger also requires adaptability. The path to success is rarely straight, and the ability to adjust, learn, and pivot is essential. Those who are hungry are constantly seeking knowledge, observing trends, and refining strategies. They are not rigid in their methods, but they are unwavering in their goals. This flexibility allows them to overcome obstacles, seize unexpected opportunities, and continue progressing even when circumstances change. Hunger ensures that you are always moving forward, even if the path shifts beneath your feet. Patience is another hidden component of hunger. While it drives urgency, it also understands the importance of timing. Success rarely comes overnight, and the hungry individual knows that consistent, focused effort over time is what produces lasting results. They understand that short-term gratification cannot replace the long-term satisfaction that comes from achieving a meaningful goal. By balancing intensity with patience, hunger becomes sustainable, keeping you motivated without burning you out. Staying hungry also demands self-reflection. It requires an honest assessment of your strengths, weaknesses, and progress. Hunger is not blind ambition, it is purposeful ambition. You continuously analyze your performance, identify areas for improvement, and refine your approach. This self-awareness ensures that your drive is focused on meaningful action rather than random activity. It allows you to stay aligned with your vision while constantly raising the standards of what you consider success. Hunger for success fuels creativity and innovation. When you are not satisfied with the status quo, you are compelled to think differently, to solve problems in unique ways, and to challenge conventional methods. This drive pushes you to innovate, to take calculated risks, and to explore possibilities that others overlook. Hunger turns obstacles into opportunities and transforms limitations into challenges to overcome. Ultimately, to stay hungry for success is to live with purpose and intensity. It is a mindset that refuses to rest on past achievements or accept complacency. It is the refusal to let comfort, fear, or doubt dictate your actions. Hunger propels you to work harder, dream bigger, and persist longer than those who are satisfied with mediocrity. It is the force that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results, that converts ambition into action, and that ensures your journey towards success is relentless, unwavering, and unstoppable. Those who cultivate this hunger understand that true fulfillment lies not just in achieving a goal, but in maintaining the drive that continuously pushes them to grow, evolve, and reach heights they once thought impossible. To be resilient and consistent is to embrace a way of life that transforms obstacles into opportunities and effort into results. Resilience is the ability to withstand challenges, setbacks, and disappointments without losing momentum, while consistency is the steady application of effort over time, even when motivation fades or results are not immediately visible. Together, they create an unstoppable combination, a mindset that allows you to continue progressing when others give up, and to build lasting success one deliberate action at a time. Those who cultivate both resilience and consistency understand that achievement is not determined by occasional bursts of effort, but by persistent, disciplined action combined with the ability to rise again when life knocks them down. Life is unpredictable. Challenges arise without warning. Circumstances change, and plans often fail despite careful preparation. Without resilience, these obstacles can derail progress, creating frustration, doubt, and fear. But when resilience is present, each challenge becomes a lesson rather than a defeat. The resilient person understands that setbacks are temporary, that failure is not a reflection of their worth, and that every obstacle contains the seeds of growth. Resilience is built through experience, through facing difficulties head on, reflecting on them, learning from them, and returning to the journey with renewed determination. It is the inner strength that allows you to endure hardship without losing faith in your abilities or in the process itself. Consistency is equally important because resilience alone is not enough. It is not enough to simply recover from setbacks if progress is sporadic or effort is unpredictable. Consistency is what transforms potential into tangible results. It is the repetition of small, purposeful actions that compound over time into extraordinary outcomes. The person who consistently works toward their goals day after day builds habits, skills, and momentum that cannot be undone by temporary difficulties. Each consistent effort strengthens the foundation for long-term success, making it easier to withstand the inevitable challenges that come along the way. The interplay between resilience and consistency is powerful. Resilience allows you to recover from failures, while consistency ensures that you continue to move forward regardless of the setbacks. Together, they create a cycle of progress that accelerates over time. When you face difficulties, resilience keeps you standing. When life is stable and success is within reach, consistency ensures that you continue building upon it. Those who master both do not rely solely on motivation, inspiration, or luck. They rely on the unshakable discipline of showing up, acting, and persisting no matter what. Being resilient and consistent also requires patience. Results rarely appear immediately, and the process of growth can be slow, frustrating, and invisible to others. The resilient and consistent individual understands that long-term success is the result of accumulated effort, not sudden breakthroughs. They accept that progress may feel incremental, that failure may temporarily set them back, and that the journey may be challenging. Yet, they continue to move forward, confident that every effort invested is bringing them closer to their goals. A key aspect of resilience is mindset. When you cultivate the ability to see setbacks as temporary and challenges as opportunities, you create a mental framework that supports perseverance. You stop viewing obstacles as permanent roadblocks and start seeing them as tests of strength, patience, and determination. This mindset not only allows you to endure difficulties, but also to thrive in the face of them, turning adversity into fuel for growth rather than a reason for retreat. Consistency, on the other hand, is often a matter of discipline and self-control. It is the ability to maintain focus on priorities, to stick to habits, and to take daily action even when you do not feel like it. Motivation fluctuates, circumstances change, and energy levels rise and fall, but consistency does not depend on temporary conditions. It is the commitment to your goals and the belief that repeated, focused effort will yield results over time. This steady approach is what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who quit when challenges arise. Resilience and consistency also build confidence. Each time you recover from a setback, you prove to yourself that you are capable of enduring hardship. Each time you take consistent action toward your goals, you reinforce the belief that you can achieve what you set out to do. Over time, this combination of enduring strength and steady progress creates an unshakable self-assurance that cannot be shaken by temporary failure or criticism. Ultimately, to be resilient and consistent is to live with purpose, determination, and unwavering commitment. It is the choice to continue moving forward, learning and growing, regardless of circumstances. It is the refusal to be defined by failure, distraction, or temporary discomfort, and the commitment to daily effort, discipline, and persistence. By cultivating both qualities, you ensure that your actions are not fleeting, that your growth is sustainable, and that your potential is fully realized. Those who embrace resilience and consistency create a life of impact, achievement, and unstoppable momentum, proving that success is not a result of luck, but a product of enduring strength and disciplined effort. So, as you move forward in life, remember this: it is not the easiest path that leads to greatness, nor the fastest, nor the one without obstacles. True success belongs to those who rise when others fall, who keep showing up when others quit, and who turn every setback into a stepping stone. Be resilient, be consistent, trust in your effort, honor your journey, and let your determination speak louder than any fear, doubt, or obstacle. When you commit to this mindset, there is nothing in life that can stop you from becoming the person you were meant to be.